Welcome to Kaumudy Global. It is difficult to get out when you're batting well. That too, caught and bowled in a great catch by the opposing team. There will be disappointed reactions from the audience sitting in front of the television sets. Such was the case in New Zealand. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Arden announced her resignation the other day despite huge public support. At the age of 42, when Jacinda Arden, having had enough of politics, returned to common life, a great alternative model was lost. Her decision stands out in the absence of current precedents for being able to gain public trust by word and deed and then abandoning it without much justification. Jacinda Arden has been the Prime Minister of New Zealand since 2017. 37 years old then, she became the world's youngest woman Prime Minister. She is the second elected ruler to give birth to a baby while being PM after Benazir Bhutto of Pakistan. The leader of the nation had addressed the world at the United Nations with a 3-month-old baby in arms. A woman leader with distinct social and political policies that the world is looking forward to. It was she who announced at the Labour Party's first caucus meeting of the year that she would step down as Prime Minister and Party President on February 7th. Jacinda Arden says, "I am a normal person. For me, now is the time. I am no more contesting in elections." She adds that it's time now for her to focus on her family, marry her partner, and concentrate on daughter Nave's schooling. Jacinda's decision is gaining world attention in a world where many politicians think that only death can declare an end to their political career. Why did she end her political career one fine morning? According to some critics, her decision was motivated by New Zealand's financial crisis. There are others who cite rising law and order problems and rising prices the reason. It's a fact that Jacinda, who stands for progressive ideas, faces a lot of opposition from conservative groups and opposition parties. In the month of December, the nation watched on television the degraded statement of Jacinda against David Seymour of the opposition without realizing that the microphone was on. The opposition alleges that the recent decline in popular support, which was once huge, is behind the decision. There are also those who assess that Jacinda did not have the big image she has at the global level within the country. Now let's say some good things about Jacinda. The prime ministers of the countries, including of the UK, did not resign from their positions for good reasons, because it was their mistakes that had led them to resign, unlike Jacinda. The fact that she was the youngest prime minister was not the only thing that made her special. New Zealand is one of the countries in the world that has effectively dealt with the COVID epidemic. Jacinda led New Zealand for the first time to effectively implement quarantine and border closures for those who came from abroad. According to the Washington Post, they showed the world how to use the media in times of crisis. To some extent, it seems similar to the Kerala model. It may be recalled that New Zealand was the first to use the famous phrase of Kerala, God's own country. Although there were protests in the early stages of the restrictions, New Zealand model that stood out when other countries succumbed to the COVID crisis became world famous under the name of Jacinda Mania. On March 15, 2019, 2 mosques in Christchurch were trespassed by a white racist who opened fire. The Prime Minister's intervention was remarkable in this incident, in which 51 people were killed. Responding through television and later in Parliament, she clarified that terrorists have no place in this world. Stating that she is with the victims, Jacinda went straight to console the relatives of the deceased. Pictures of her wearing headscarf and hugging the relatives of those killed in the shooting sent a great message of brotherhood to the world. Jacinda became an alternative model for a Europe where racism and religious animosity were being debated. Self-described as social democrats, her policies gained popular attention. Her policies in the areas of health and education stood with the common man. Policies such as child poverty, midday meal schemes, increasing the number of free doctor services, free menstrual care facilities in schools, and raising the minimum wage have kept her in power with the highest number of seats since the introduction of the new electoral system in the 2020 elections. She stood up for the rights of the Maori community, who make up about 16% of New Zealand's population. The Maoris are an ancient group that deviates from the mainstream on many issues. New Zealand has a coalition government with the Green Party. Therefore, many of Ardern's policies focused on green issues such as global warming, the use of carbon fuels, and electric vehicles, which was also heavily criticized. She is considered by most to be a social democrat who adhered to progressive, feminist, and Republican ideas. She argued that child poverty and homelessness were failures of capitalism. She did not show much religious faith and openly supported homosexuality. Jacinda is also the first Prime Minister to participate in the Pride March. She was of the opinion that abortion is a right of women. Her partner Clark Gayford, whom she has not lawfully wed, is a journalist. She had strong opinions on many issues at the international level too. She had reacted strongly to the human rights issues of Uyghur Muslims in China and Rohingya refugees in Myanmar. She once publicly questioned British Prime Minister Tony Blair over the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Whatever may be the reasons, the world heard of Jacinda's resignation announcement unexpectedly because when Jacinda at the age of 42 had enough of politics and returned to life, a great alternative model was gone. Jacinda Arden's decision to win public trust by word and deed and then relinquish it without much justification stands out in the absence of current precedents. This is Anjana signing off. Do like and share this video for further updates. Subscribe to Kaumudy Global.